Well, good morning. I think it's time we did an update. Haven't done one for a few months, and an awful lot has happened in that time. This view from here, just over 13, 14 months ago, was a mass of brambles, overgrown grasses, bracken, ferns, nettles, you name it, was there. And over this last year, we've cleared it all, and this is what we now have, and what I'm going to call my allotment. So let's get into the centre of the plot. Behind me is the front fence, which will be rebuilt, gateway put where I'm now stood, other than where I was stood just now, and that will lead us straight up the central aisle. From here, let's just go to widescreen, it's easier. There you go. So we've got 8 beds up each side. They've all been edged off with some feather boarding. So the feather boarding doesn't give any structural integrity, to be honest. It's fairly thin, but it demarks the bed from the path, and it just, in my mind, it makes me feel as though it's easier to work because I've got defined areas which I can work in. The first lot of crops to go in will go in the end of March. We're just waiting for the first of the last of the frost, the bad frosts. I'm just waiting to see what the forecast is going to do for the next 2 weeks. But anyway, let's have a quick stroll up. So first off, let's just move forward. I'm going to just turn around a minute and we'll have a look. This is the current fence at the bottom of the plot, with my original gate over there, which still hangs on by a prayer. This is where the new gate's going to go, with possibly pallet fencing all the way along, right the way across to the edge of the plot over there behind the rubbish bin by the corrugated fencing in the corner. So that'll give me a nice large access way, which will allow me then to go straight into the plot and straight up the centre. So what are we going to do? You'll already see some of the beds are laid over to hoops. They're the ones where I'm going to be putting brassicas, parts of the brassica family throughout these next few months. So they got the hoops made yesterday, ready for the scaffold netting going over the top. The other ones are being used for roots and various other vegetables. Over on the left hand side here, there's still, that's what's left of the rubbish. Most of that over there is carpet. Yeah, we're still pulling carpet out of the ground 12-14 months after we moved in. There's the compost area. I'm not too sure about the compost area at the moment, not happy. That might change next year. So we move on up. There's nothing in the beds at the moment, so nothing to see in this area, unfortunately, apart from the beds. Under the pallet and the timber over there, that's all been turned over, dug, weeded, covered with more carpet, but that's where the potatoes are going to go this year. My thought is this is the midway point. After I've done the spuds this year in there, I might build compost bins area just there. Probably get 3 compost bins into that area. They will then be removed, and that bottom segment down there can be used either. I'm two minds whether to grow potatoes again in there. We'll see how this ground crop grows this year. I'd rather grow in tubs, I think, but we'll see what happens. But if not, that will become possibly a caged area for soft fruits. So let's carry on walking up the main plot. As you can see ahead of me, there's the polytunnel that went up in October. It's got raised beds inside, and there'll be housed tomatoes, chilies, plus some herbs. Over on this side, we've got this was an area used to be a massive bramble. It was a raspberry area, masses of raspberries and blackberries. They were all dug up, ripped up, new raised beds put in. And we got some rhubarb in its new permanent home. The rhubarb had been over where the polytunnel is. Then we've got a couple of hooped raised beds in there. I don't know if we can see, yeah, you can just see there is the onions. And on this side here, we have the garlic. They're under EnviroMesh to help keep them free from allium leaf miner. This will be the seating area. At the moment we've got a bench for putting various bits and bobs in, one of these bench storage areas. The old bathtub is going to have environment mesh over the top soon, and that's where the carrots are going to go. I'm going to try and grow some decent sized carrots this year. As I say, we've got the polytunnel in there. I'll do a different video on the polytunnel once I've got it all wired up. The incinerator's not going to stay there. I'm not going to risk a polytunnel by having the incinerator there. In fact, the incinerator is going to go where I'm currently stood at the moment, so well away from most other areas could cause damage. And that really is, folks, the quick overview of where we have come in 12 months. From a desolate, wild, overgrown plot to what hopefully this year will be a very productive area. So thanks very much, and catch you soon.